Hello Year 4 and welcome to the new term and to maths. For this lesson you're going to need a pencil and paper. When you're in a nice quiet spot, then you can complete the do now and unpause when you're ready to go through the answers. So let's see how you did. Number 1 is 0.03 or 3%. Number 2 is 75%. That's a really important fraction to know just off by heart. Number 3 is 8. Number 4 is 3. Number 5 is 14. And number 6 is 30. So this term we're just going to start with a little bit of arithmetic revision. We're going to start by multiplying and dividing by 10, 100 and 1,000. So let's take a look at the steps of success. 1, circle the operation. 2, move right if you're dividing, or move the digits left if you're multiplying. Now, if you're dividing, it means that if you're dividing by 10, this number becomes 10 times smaller. If you're multiplying, it means that this number will become 10 times larger. You're going to drop the decimal, then you're going to, in step 3, count the number of zeros. And this tells you how many place values to move each digit. Number 4, you're then going to move each digit. And then 5, fill in empty space with placeholder 0. So let's begin. We have here number 1, circle the operation. So I'm going to circle the multiply, which means that I'm going to move all of my digits to the left, which means that this number is now going to become 10 times smaller. 26.1 multiplied by 10. I'm now going to drop my decimal here. And I'm going to, for step 3, count the number of zeros. So I have 1 0, and this tells me how many place values I have to move each digit. So I'm just going to write 1 here to remind myself. I'm going to tick that one off, and now I'm going to move each digit 1 place value to the left. So here's 2, 1, 6, 1, and 1 here. Okay, you can see that I'm using squares for each place value, and if you have squares at home, then please do the same, because this makes it a lot easier. Now, after the decimal, if there aren't any other digits, then we can place a 0, or 261 is also the same as 261.0. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We have 312.4 divided by 100. So can you read the first step for me? Ooh, let's put this here. Good. So we are circling division, which means that we are going to be moving to the right. Good, which means that our number is going to get 100 times smaller. Excellent. Can you now read the second step for me? Great, so I'm going to drop the decimal. And the third step, count the numbers, 1, 2, good, we have 2 zeros, so I know that I'm moving each digit 2 decimal places to the right. And then I'm going to move each digit now, so 4, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Great. Fill any empty space with placeholder 0. I don't have any empty space, so this is my answer. I'm just going to double check. I know that division means it's going to be smaller. 312, 3, so it's definitely smaller. Fantastic. Great. Now, let's do this again. Step number 1, circle the operation. Here we go. So I'm going to circle the operation. And number 2, drop the decimal. Now, this number doesn't have a decimal. If it does not have a decimal, then where would a decimal go? Can you tell me? Good, so we place it after the ones. So I'm going to place my decimal after the ones. Great, so I've dropped my decimal. Yeah. Now I'm going to count the number of zeros. 1. Oh, I forgot to write which direction I'm moving in. So I'm multiplying, so I'm moving to the left, and I am moving 1 place because I have 1 0. Now I'm going to move each digit. So I'm going to move each digit to the left by 1. Good. So 1, 1. Great, I'm going to tick that one off. Now number 5, fill any empty space with placeholder. So I know that between my decimal, I have 1 empty space. I'm going to fill that in with a 0. And I can also place a 0 here. However, 310 is also correct. So either of these answers are correct. Great. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Circle the operation. Which direction are we moving in? Tell me. Good. Okay, and the next step. Is there a decimal? Tell me what I need to do. Excellent. Yeah, it goes after my ones. Good job. Okay, now I need to. And how many are there? You're right, so I'm going to place 3 there. Tick that off. I'm going to now move each digit. Oh, I forgot to drop my decimal. I wrote my decimal, but I didn't drop my decimal. So let me just drop that now. Sorry. So I'm going to move each digit. So I've got my 7. I've got to move it 3 place values to the right. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I've got my 0. 1, 2, 3. I don't really have to place it there because there isn't a digit after it. And then number 5, fill any empty space with placeholder 0. So between my decimal and 7, there are 2 placeholders here. Okay, so my answer is 0.0070. Is that okay? No, it's not, because we also need a 1. We also need a digit in the ones. Okay, and if there isn't a digit in the ones, then we must always put a 0. Do I need this 0 at the end? No, I don't need a 0 at the end because there isn't another digit here. So actually 0.007 would be the answer. This would also be correct, but it looks a little bit funny. I don't really need it because the value is 0 here. Okay, your turn. I'd like you to complete these 6 questions. Unpause when you've finished and we'll go through the answers. So let's take a look. How did you do? Number 1 is 234. Number 2 is 2.7389. Number 3 is 450. Number 4 is 0.09. Number 5 is 3,400. And number 6 is 0.02. How did you do? Brilliant. Okay, let's move on to rounding. So let's read through the steps to success. Number 1, circle place value. Number 2, underline the number to the right, so it's going in this direction. Number 3, if number underlined is 0 to 4, then the circle number stays the same. But if it's 5 to 9, then you add 1 to the circled number. Number 4, all digits after circled number become zeros, and remember the decimal. Number 4, all numbers before circled number stay the same. So first of all, we are rounding to the nearest whole. What place value does that mean? If they're talking about a whole, what place value is it? Good, it's the same as saying the ones. So, first of all, I need to circle my place value. Which one is my ones? Which digit is the ones? Good, this digit here. What's the place value of 9? Thousands, good. What's the place value of 3? Hundreds, excellent. What's the place value of 4? Good, this is the tenths. And what about the place value of 6? These are the tens. There's a difference. We've got the tens and the tenths. Let me just write in my thousandths, hundredths, 1. And what's this place value? Hundredths, well remembered, fantastic. Okay, so now that we've circled the place value that we need to round, underline the number to the right. So if I'm looking to the right, it's this number, my tenths. Now, if the number underlined is 0 to 4, then the circled number stays the same. The number is 4, so my circled number stays the same. I'm going to write 2 here. Oh, let me tick as I go along. Now, all digits after circled number becomes 0. So my 4 becomes a 0 and the 5 becomes a 0. And I need to remember my decimal. That doesn't change. It stays in the same spot. And all numbers before the circled number stay the same. So the 6 remains a 6, the 300s remains 3, and the 9,000 remains 9. And so the answer is 9,362.00 or 9,362, because the 2 zeros at the end isn't followed by another number, so we don't have to write those down. Okay, your turn. Can you read the first step? Good. So we're rounding to the nearest tenth. Which digit is that? Excellent. So I'm going to circle. Now I'm going to read. Can you read the second step, please? Good. Tell me which digit to underline. Excellent. Now, is my number underlined between 0 and 4 or 5 to 9? Good. So what must I do to the number circled? Add 1. Good. So I'm going to add 1 here. So that becomes 5. Excellent. Read out step 4. Good. So that becomes 0. All the numbers become zeros. And then I need to. Good. Okay. And finally, read out step number 5. Good. So 2 stays the same. 6, 3, and 9. So my answer is 9,362.50 or 9,362.5. Both are okay. Okay, let's do this last one together. Round to the nearest tens. So circle place value. Where's the nearest tens? The 9, okay, here we go. Oh, not this 9. Which 9 did you mean? The other one, oh, you're right. This one is the hundreds, isn't it? Good catch. Okay, so this is my tens. I'm going to underline the number to the right. Good. What am I going to do to the number in the circle? Tell me. Yeah, I'm going to add 1. Now this is interesting because if I add 1 to 9, that becomes 10. Is it okay for me to write 1910? No. So what I need to do, a little bit like when we add, we regroup. So if I add 1 here, then I'm going to regroup here, and this becomes 0. And now, 9 plus 1 equals, good, 10. And I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to regroup to the next column. So then 1 plus 1 becomes, good. Okay. So all digits after the circled number becomes 0. So this becomes 0, this becomes 0, this becomes 0. And I need to remember my decimal here. Now, step 5 says all numbers become before the circled numbers stay the same, but they've already changed. So actually we can ignore this because we've had to regroup all of the other numbers before the circle. This is one time that we can ignore this step. Okay, so my answer is 2000.00 or simply 2000. Okay, I think you're ready. If you need some help, just rewind the video to watch bits that you might need. Can you please complete this grid, rounding to the nearest tens, tenths, hundreds and ones. When you've finished, please unpause and we'll go through the answers. So let's go through the answers. Here are the tens. Here are the tenths. Here are the hundreds. And then the whole number, did you remember? That meant rounding to the nearest ones. How did you do? Did you remember your decimal? Fantastic. Great job. Let's go on to column multiplication. Let's read the steps to success. Number 1, multiply top numbers by ones. Number 2, drop ZAC 0. Number 3, multiply top numbers by tens. And number 4, add both answers. So let me write down first. 802 multiplied by 32. So step number 1, multiply top numbers by 1. So here is my ones. 2 times 2 equals 4. Good. 2 times 0 equals 0. And 2 times 8 equals 16. Great. Now I noticed last time we did that many people forgot to now multiply the tens. So remember your second step. First of all, you need to drop ZAC the 0. And now we're going to multiply the top numbers by the tens. I'm going to change the color of the tens so that you can see the process that I'm going through when we multiply each number by the tens. So 3 times 2 equals 6. Then 3 times 0 equals 0. And now 3 times 8 equals 24. Good. Okay. So now I've multiplied the top number by my tens. What's my last step? Good. I now need to add both answers. Really important not to skip out this last step. 4 plus 0 equals, great, 4. 0 plus 6 equals 6. 6 plus 0 equals 6. 1 plus 4 equals 5. And then we have 2. So my answer is 25,664. Great. Again, I'm going to write this down. Multiplied by, and I'm going to change my tens just so that I know it's very clear for you. So read out the first step for me. Good. Tell me which ones are we going to multiply the top number by? Good. It's 4. Great. So 4 times 3 equals 4, 8, 12. Good. Now, when I have numbers to regroup, I'm going to put them in the same line because otherwise it gets very confusing. OK, so I'm going to put my 1 here and then my 2 here. 4 times 1 equals 4 plus 1 equals 5. 4 times 2 equals 8. Okay. Now, my second step is what? Can you read it out for me? Good. I need to drop Zach the 0. So I'm dropping Zach in the ones. Now I need to read out step 3 for me. Good. Multiply top numbers by 10. So here's my 10. 6 times 3 equals 6, 12, 18. So I'm going to place 1 there and write 8. Next, 6 times 1 equals 6 plus 1 equals 7. Next, 6 times 2 equals 12. Good. Okay, now what do I need to do? Well remembered, brilliant. I'm going to add both answers. So 2 plus 0 equals 2. 5 plus 8 equals 13. Remember, I'm going to keep my my regrouping in the same line so that it doesn't become confusing. 8 plus 7 equals 15 plus 1 equals 16. 2 plus 1 equals 3 and then 1. Great, and my answer is 13,632. Now let's take a look at square numbers. Remember that square number means multiplying the number by itself. So 1 square equals 1 times 1. So the answer is 1. Great. What about 3 square? What am I going to multiply 3 with? Good, 3. So 3 times 3 equals 9. Excellent. What about this? Oh, don't know what happened to my square there. Here we go. 9 times 9. Excellent, which equals 81. Fantastic. Now let's take a look at cube numbers. Cube number means that we're going to multiply this number by itself 2 times 2, a little bit like a square number, which equals 4, and then a third time. So actually it is 2 times 2 times 2. So 4 times 2 equals 8. Let's take a look at 4 cube. 4 times 4 times 4. Remember, it's not 4 times 4 and then times 3. It's multiplying the same number. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to multiply the first 2 numbers. 4 times 4 equals 16. And now, using the same answer, we're going to multiply it again by 4. This time I'm going to use the column method to help me because I think multiplying it by 4 using my times tables would be very tricky. 4 times 6 equals 6, 12, 18, 24. Oh. I'm placing the 4 here and the 2 here. 4 times 1 equals 4 plus 2 equals 6. Good. So the answer is 64. What about 5? Can you tell me? How would I write this? Tell me. Good. 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 equals 25. That's nice and easy. And then we're going to multiply it by, good, 5 again. Remember, we're not multiplying it by 3, which I saw some people do last time. So remember, you're multiplying it by the same number. 5 times 5 equals 25. Good. 5 times 2 equals 10 plus 2 equals 12. Excellent. So 5 cube equals 125. Now time for your independent task. I'd like you to complete these and then unpause to continue on to the challenge if you would like. So we have 13 and 14 and 15 and 16. Unpause to go through the answers. Here are the answers for questions 7 to 12. And then for 13 to 16. I hope this lesson's refreshed your memory a little bit. We're definitely going to be using many of these in the subsequent lessons. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.